Greetings, I'm John Spirit.
I'm Arch Ezekiel.
These cows will never be freed from their prisons ever, and welcome to Ultimate Alchemy Recap Supershorts. In order to run the Slimy Generator, you need slime balls and milk, and while it is possible to make milk using a fermenter on protein soup which requires biomass in a squeezer, that's terrible. Unfortunately, attempting to automate milk production is also pretty terrible. We tried to use the Drum of the Gathering, which makes cows fill buckets underneath them with milk whenever the drum is hit by a mana pulse. Unfortunately, it was violently unreliable, and a bucket could be underneath a cow or like an entire block away from it, and it would fill or not fill almost completely randomly, and we could not figure out how to make it reliable. So we decided to use a much more cursed solution. We delved into Steve's Carts to make the Steve's Carts Milker. It's really fucked, people, but it works. Steve's Carts is a mod that allows you to assemble modular carts, which use a variety of engines, tools, storage, and other add-ons to do many strange things while on rails. To start your Steve's Carts journey, you need any hole, like the standard hole. You put in the cart assembler, and it tells you what you can put in. Generally, you need some kind of engine to make the cart run, otherwise it just won't do anything. It's also usually important to put some kind of storage chest in it. Different modules for Steve's Carts use different sides of the cart. For example, the front chest uses the front side. Look how cute it is. But if there's something on the front side, usually it'll be difficult to add anything else that also uses the front side. I initially intended to use solar engines, but those took so many sides. The modules you definitely need in order to run a cow milking system are a milker, which requires a cage. While the milker does not occupy any sides of the cart, the cage does occupy the top and center. Anyway, once you have an engine, a chest, a cage, and a milker, you can assemble your cart by pressing assemble, and it will take possibly 10 minutes to possibly an hour. It really depends on the cart you're making. Once you place a Steve's cart on a rail and give its engine some kind of fuel, like for example charcoal here, it'll start moving around. It'll follow a certain direction until turned back. The cage module will automatically pick up an animal from the world, but it can release the caged creature, and you can deactivate auto pickup as well if you'd like to, and just have it pick up a specific nearby creature. Really, it picks up the nearest animal it can. When the milker receives buckets, it will very slowly milk the cow and put buckets of milk in the front chest. How do you interact with the inventory of a cart? You can use something called the Cargo Manager from Steve's Carts. When you place an advanced detector rail next to a Cargo Manager, any carts which hit the detector rail will turn off until the Cargo Manager releases them. The Cargo Manager attempts to exchange items with the cart next to it, and you can choose which part of the cart the Cargo Manager is inputting or exporting items from. You can change the transfer direction. So here we're transferring charcoal into the yellow side of the Cargo Manager, which is this side, and into the engine of whatever cart is there. So charcoal fills up these coal engines. Meanwhile, we transfer buckets from this Cargo Manager into the cart, specifically into the milker section. Buckets come into the system from this exporter, which only runs when there are less than 256 milk buckets in the system. And buckets get pulled from the mini chest into the Cargo Manager using a limited item filter that only allows one bucket in at a time, so you don't get all of your buckets going into one cage. The other blue mark on the Cargo Manager removes items from the cart storage slots, so it removes milk buckets. This brown extract has a filter to only remove milk and put it into the interface. Let's watch it happen by changing this detector to 512 so that buckets start entering the mini chest. They'll go into this Cargo Manager, and the buckets will eventually go into the milker. You can observe the buckets appear in the milker right now, and eventually the milker will automatically turn those buckets into milk buckets, but slowly. You can see that the buckets fill up a lot faster than the milker itself actually milks the cows, which is why we needed 2 of these in order to run them fast enough to run the Slimy Generator. But you'll see that once this milk hits the Cargo Manager, it gets removed. We don't actually need these powered rails here to make we're just trying to make the carts go faster than normal so that they go through more often. But the real bottleneck is how slow the milkers are anyway, so we don't need these powered rails, but we just have them. You need enough milk buckets to run the Slimy Generator once every 24 seconds. You also need a lot of slime for this, which is why we realized we couldn't just use our lava to magma cream to slime ball system to get the slime. Instead, we have a phytogenic insulator that uses the sapling infuser to generate slime using blue slime saplings. Blue slime saplings can be made using milk on a sapling in a fluid transposer or a caster or whatever. And with Flux PhytoGrow, you make an absolutely ginormous amount of congealed green slime blocks. We just export blue slime saplings into the system whenever there are less than 64 congealed green slime blocks in the system. And then a simple crafting recipe will turn those congealed blocks into slime balls. It's pretty efficient. 2 generators left to go. The Disenchantment Generator, which requires magical wood and an enchantment table, which you can make using sun crystals instead of diamonds if you want to for some reason. You actually literally can't use diamonds. And the Potion Generator. The Arcane Ensorcelator uses books, some kind of item, and essence of knowledge to enchant the books into their most basic low-level version. Since the Arcane Ensorcelator can't make improved versions of books, they can only make, for example, Fortune 1, we tried to use the best book we could find that required the easiest ingredients, and that was going to be the Fortune 1 book, which requires emerald, books, and essence of knowledge. The Fortune book seems a little bit more expensive when you first look at it than the other book we were considering using, which was Looting, which takes gold instead of emeralds. But the recipe for emeralds requires a gold coin, which is 1/3 of an ingot of gold. So it's actually cheaper on gold to use Fortune 1 books. Our Magma Crucible that makes Essence of Knowledge is pretty damn fast with 3 auxiliary reception coils, so we don't ever really need to worry about how much Essence of Knowledge we have. The Disenchantment Generator does consume your book once it's completely done, so you need to make sure you have books automated, but that's pretty easy as long as you have string and the wood for blank patterns. The final doozy for the Rainbow Generator was running the Potion Generator. The Potion Generator predictably runs on potions. The more ingredients it took to make the potion, the longer the potion lasts. The longest you can get a potion to last is 32 seconds. We are using one which takes only 16 seconds because turning it into the next best potion required fermented spider eyes, which are terrible. Not because of the mushrooms, but because of the spider eyes, which is either a crucible with eyes of ender, which is terrible, or a conjuration catalyst, which is slightly less terrible but still annoying. While potions are technically automatable using the brewing stand, I am told by Arch that it is a massive bitch. So instead, we're using Thermal Expansion's Alchemical Imbuer. The Alchemical Imbuer works with potions in fluid form. The fluid form of potions is introduced by Thermal Foundation, but as you can see, these potions do not actually specifically have any labels on them. This makes it a little difficult to determine what recipe you should use in the Alchemical Imbuer, especially considering that when you are looking at how to fill a potion in the fluid transposer, it literally just cycles through all the potions because it's terrible. Thankfully, the recipes are generally exactly the same as those which actually occur in the brewing stand. The one difference is that while the actual brewing stand has an efficiency of 3 potions per potion ingredient, the Alchemical Imbuer can only turn 2 potions per potion ingredient. Potions are represented by 250 millibuckets in the Alchemical Imbuer, and most recipes are 500 millibuckets to 500 millibuckets. One other interesting and convenient factoid is that Refined Storage can recognize each type of potion individually despite the potions all being one fluid, according to JEI. So you can just set up crafting patterns which turn a fluid or potion fluid and an ingredient into another potion, which is what we've done here. We turn water and netherwort into an awkward potion and golden carrot into a potion of night vision and redstone into a stronger potion of night vision and gunpowder into a splash potion, and finally we use dragon's breath to make it lingering. This mechanical user with an acceleration 1 on fast helps run the imbuer faster, and we also have 3 auxiliary reception coils on a signalum upgrade. Here we can see the Alchemical Imbuer is working to make a few potions that Arch just crafted, and you can see it goes very quickly. It goes through the process one by one, and eventually we'll see it finish all the way. Here's the Dragon's Breath turning the potions into lingering potions, and in a fluid transposer, you can fill bottles with potion fluid to make the actual potion. And that's how we fill up our potion generator. To make the netherwort and carrots, we have a little farm set up here that uses mechanical users with use item on block and fastest to both grow and harvest the plants. A hopper hawk picks them up and sticks them in these drawers, which all have void upgrades, because Arch, for some reason, couldn't be bothered to turn off the mechanical users using detectors. I'm not actually mad.
Yes.
Thankfully, the hopper hawk is pretty quick at shoving things into nearby drawers or item barrels. This is, of course, reusing the Nether Star Hopper Hawk, which distressed me very much when Arch did it. Arch even told me to come down and was like, "You'll like how I made this farm." I did not like how Arch made this farm. I'm just kidding, it's fine. I probably would have done the same thing, or I would have cried about phytogenic insulators. And Arch had already made so many phytogenic insulators that I thought it was only fair that Arch can do whatever the fuck he wants. Well, anyway, when you import into every one of the 16 generators and run them all at once, which, requires you either trash the energy or have all the energy going into your system, the rainbow generator will start working. All of our generators are connected to the main system through flux plugs, as is the rainbow generator, although it also is connected to some Wyvern energy IO crystals, which we'll talk about in the next episode. When enough energy is being used by the system, every single one of these generators will turn on and dump their power into the system, and when they're all on, if there's even more power need, like there is in the case of diamonds, the rainbow generator will turn on and add its power to the system. And that, my friends, is how we automated the rainbow generator. It was terrible, but it was so fun. Neither of us had ever done it before. Our other option was big reactors, which Arch has done before and there was no manual for and I didn't want to learn how, so there were a lot of random fun automation challenges doing the rainbow generator, and I would highly recommend doing it yourself, although I guess we've kind of spoiled you on a bunch of the methods right now. But if you're in another mod pack with a rainbow generator and you want to use different methods to fill up all your generators, please feel free to figure something out. For now, that's it for today's episode. In the next episode, we'll probably wrap up the game and do Draconic Evolution and the automation of True Clay. I don't know if we actually will in that episode because I haven't recorded it yet, so maybe there's 2 episodes and maybe there's 1, but nevertheless we are approaching the end. I say, surreptitiously not looking at the open end portal over there. Please let other viewers know in the comments if you have any notes on the rainbow generator or anything else in this mod pack that we haven't covered. See you in the next one!